Okay, well, I've wanted to do some videos for quite a while now, so I thought I'd just start off with this one. Basically, I'm going to play a bit of Kerbal Space Program. Fingers crossed all the sound and everything's alright, because it's my first time. I'm not too bothered with any complex recording systems or anything like that. But what I'm going to do is, I want to do, basically, I'm going to do a sandbox. And basically I want to make a little cruise missile. So one that we can control, and obviously then, well, target a whatever building is we want to aim for, and adjust if needed in flight. But I also want to be able to deploy it from an aircraft as well. So, you know, have like a cargo bay, have it drop out, stuff like that. First of all, I want to test and actually make a little cruise missile. But I want to make it as small as possible, so I'm going to use these, basically the tiny parts. So I think with the latest update as well, there are quite a few small components. So yeah, I have noticed the tiny engine and the air intake as well. I mean, it looks like it should be a cruise missile itself. Look at all of the components match. I mean, just look at that. So yeah, so fingers crossed. I mean, I'm not 100% sure if this has any control yet, but we'll just check it actually flies. I'm just going to leave everything to default names. I can't bother changing them. So this just is the first in-flight test, or test flight of my little potential cruise missile. Full throttle. I think it does have SAS. Yeah, it does. As I said though, I don't think these have reaction wheels. So yeah, I'm pushing the keys now and nothing's happening. So I've got no control whatsoever. But it definitely takes off. Loads of fuel. Cut the fuel and see what damage it does. It still goes up. I don't need to set it on. So let's see the big explosion. Beautiful. Didn't destroy that. Oh, I probably should have left them turned on, the explosions of the facilities, so we could do some actual damage. But looking at the little first flight, that seems like it can work this sort of this body, if you will. Right, but I definitely need some control. So yeah, fingers crossed these are the right. Yeah, they're exactly the right size. So ideally, we want these furthest away from the mass, for obviously the most control possible. So them on there. Okay, it's actually so small that even the centre of mass ball seems to be, well, it's a lot wider anyway than the missile we've got. What I'll do is I'll also stick on some fins, just so that we can see if we can glide it in somewhere, or you know, whatever it is we need to do. So I mean, I would check these usually, but I don't think it makes too much of a difference with such a small aircraft, if you can call it that. I don't know where my thing's gone. Oh, there we go. So I'll put it there, that should be fine. So yeah, fingers crossed that those two reaction wheels should give us more than enough control now. So I'll just give it a little test, which is the right way up, otherwise we'll never be able to take off. Obviously I don't want to leave it horizontal, because it will slide on its belly and probably blow up without taking off. So this way is fine. Again, full throttle. Oh, RCS, yes. Slowly builds up intake, and it definitely flies. Loads of control now. Yes, definitely a little missile. It seems to turn okay as well. Yeah, I mean, it flies pretty well for such a small thing. It seems to be going pretty quick as well. Yes, I'm not 100% sure what Mach 1 is, but I think it's around 300 meters per second or 370 meters per second, something like that. Or is that miles per hour? I'm not sure, but one of those. So it can definitely go. Maybe not the most stable, but it can definitely fly. I'll tell you what, throttle down a bit. Speed warp. Now I'll see if I can crash into the airfield down there. So, I mean, I could do, obviously when I have a plane that deploys it, we can go, you know, even further range. But I mean, as it is now, we've got quite a good little range on this thing. And well, obviously that's the will have the fuel as the main explosion. So the more fuel, the bigger explosion, sort of thing. Not that it works in KSP like that, but never mind. It's got along here. Doesn't seem too bad. I mean, it's flying quite well. It does seem to glide as well, which is quite good. Oh. There we go. So direct hit, I suppose. And that looks like a good design for my, well, cruise missile. I suppose that's what we'll call it. So yeah, what I've noticed as well is I can't build a separate plane for now, which is a bit annoying because of this is the main body. This little probe, we'll have to make a new one. So obviously then I'll start with this, because this is the main thing I want. And obviously we need a compartment to hold it in, wherever they are. Utility. We'll go for the large cargo bay. I don't want to flip it, because obviously if it's a bomber we don't want to drop it on top of ourselves, or have to fly upside down to deploy the cruise missile. I like having them close. Well, it doesn't need to open fully, just enough so that the missile doesn't clip the side. Again, I'm just going to use the standard jet fuel engines and stuff like that. Yeah, just liquid fuel we need. I'll use these and stick 2 engines on it. Put that at the back. We'll get rid of oxidizer, we're not going to use that, just save a bit of weight, not that it really matters. To engines, I'll probably just use the... yeah, I'll go with the basic engine. Oh no, not the small ones obviously. Oh, I do like the ones that can, oh, what's it called? Where they... gimbal, that's the one. So you can have a bit more control with these. But I'm a fan of them. Yeah, I'd rather have gimbal when gimbaling engines than not. So that's pretty much the passenger, well, the aircraft that will carry our cruise missile. Now I just need to stick some wings on. Also I want like a tail wing or fin. Ooh, a bit off centre that. I do like to have everything neat and parallel, especially if you've got like little holes in things. It makes it look a bit. I suppose it's a bit of OCD, but never mind. I'll just stick some big standard wings on. I mean, I would usually, if I could be bothered, I would make the wings out of several wing connector types. You know, have massive wide wings or just ridiculously aerodynamic. Well, just a load of lift basically. But for now, I'll just leave it as that. I'll use these as well actually. It does annoy me how they never seem to default snap to the right size. I spend several times just flipping them around. And I have done it before in the past where I've gone on the runway and tried to use them, but they've been completely the wrong way. So then obviously when I pull up it pushes it down and stuff like that, which can be a bit annoying, especially when you're not expecting it to do so. So yeah, fingers crossed that these stay well the right way around. One at the end? No, that's not right. Oh, don't say it's too long. That's a bit annoying. Bigger one, no. Well, it looks like I'll just leave it like that. I don't think you'll really matter. Let's put these further up. Kind of annoying how it's not the exact, the right length for these combined. We're saying that it probably is on the smaller wings, wherever they are. These ones. No, that's probably too small again. There's another default wing, I think. The delta wing. Ah yeah, so sadly they're the right size for a delta wing, but I want a bit more lift, so we'll leave it at that. Again, with the sort of agility, the agility of the aircraft, or the stable, well, how stable it is. It depends on basically which side of the your lift is on the centre of mass. And I think for a varied mix, well, sort of in the middle, it's like you're getting a bit of agility as well as control, so it's very stable. So it's going to be a bomber, so it needs to be potentially like not very agile, high speeds, and just being able to fly high basically. I mean, can't really do stealthy stuff, but that's how it pretty much will go. So I'll just do these. It's a bit annoying with the gaps, but not much I can really do about the length of the wings. So I do want to use these wings rather than the smaller ones, because obviously more lift is better. I think I should have enough thrust. So yeah, that should be fine. I'll just see how much, because I will have to do the intakes. What do these ask for? 7, 8. Because I never know how many, what sort of intake I need to use, but these are usually quite good. I'll stick a couple of these on. Okay, making everything look nice and neat. Oh, wrong one. A bit too close. I don't know why they're jumping like that. Ah, there we go. That'll do, it doesn't matter, I've blocked the door. I don't plan on making them leave or anything. There we go. So that's not too bad. I think it should have enough, but just in case, I'll have these on as well. Just for that extra bit. Because I think these are only like 1 each or something. So yeah, that's perfect. So yeah, that should be enough control for this. Right, so we now stick on the... I think they'll be fine like that. Right, so we now make our little missile. I mean, it's a very simple design. And obviously we need something to decouple it. Let's see. I think we can get away with this one. Yeah, that should be fine. I don't think it will clip into there yet. Structural fuselage. I think that's another small part that can be used. So let's do this on. I don't want to. I'll not put 2 of those, have I? Yeah, I need 1 of them. Right, let's pop the one. Then it was the brain. I need the 2 control reaction wheels. Check them on. And then the intake. And obviously the engine. Ooh. It's quite a good little design, this. Yeah, it'll probably hit the side of there, so I'm just going to slide it forward a bit. Hopefully that should still be attached to the decoupler, otherwise it's going to be a bit messy. Oh, I almost forgot about the fins actually then. Which way around it is. Yeah, that's the right way around, isn't it? Just sort of clip inside. I think that's just because when it automatically offsets slightly off. Don't want it too much. Ah, it'd be fine. So no, it's not protruding, so it's fine. So hopefully that should do it. Alright, so then I will assign, what I'll do is I'll assign these to custom 1. It just makes it a bit easier so I don't have to constantly click and things like that. That's it, close that for now. Flip this round. Ooh. Flip this round. I almost forgot the wheels as well. And I want the 2 engines to start first, and this small engine can kick in when it gets decoupled. Something around there. Yeah, so that should be fine. As it's only a little small plane, I mean, should be fine using just these tiny wheels. Yeah. I don't know why the brakes aren't always set to maximum. Oh. Put it a bit further forward. No, they're quite low. Yeah, that should be fine. Chuck 2 of these on. We shouldn't clip when we take off. We shouldn't. We may well clip the side. Well, we might lose the engines basically when we take off. But we'll see what happens. So yeah, fingers crossed this will work. Obviously, once I'm in the air, at a decent altitude, I'll custom one, deploy the cruise missile, and I'll redirect it to whatever target we have. I'm not going to fly too far, but I probably will just launch and attack the runway again, just because it seems like an easy enough target. I don't want to fly too far, fly for hours, that would just be boring. Yeah, it is going to be a bit close actually. Well, we'll see what happens. I just won't have to pull up until the very last minute. Oh, there we go, we're taking off. No, that's fine, there's loads of room. Be a bit hard to land though, I think. Seems to have decent control. Oh. So I may well have made it a bit too agile. So I must have, if I move the centre of lift further backwards, I think we end up with more control. Yeah, I think that's the way it is, because at the minute now, I mean, I can easily, it's quite unstable, which means it's very agile. So if I didn't have SS, I'd probably try and crash basically. Otherwise it seems not too bad. So I'll just start gaining altitude now. The engines aren't ridiculously, I was going to say they aren't really powerful. I think it's just because I've been like a dry mode in this. The difference between wet and dry. I think you must just burn more fuel. Let's just have a look. 4. Burns a lot more fuel. I mean, we've got loads anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So, yeah, not sure what the ideal bombing range is, well, altitude. Just get to like 55, well, 5,000, whatever. It's a shame I can't retract these wheels over. Never mind. So yeah, just test that I can open the bay doors, yeah, easy enough. And the bomb is still intact. Yep. Right, we're getting over a target, so what I'll do now is I'll deploy it. Right, to get a good view. There it is. It seems to be clear. Control from here. Yeah. And we shall go for our target. Ooh, it's a little bit weird. Just the controls getting used to it. Seem to line it up, and I'm sure my plane will just keep flying as it is. Yeah, that's fine. So we'll just switch back to that as soon as this blows up. Full speed, of course. Try and go for another one of the hangars again. Can never tell exactly where it's going, but we shall see. To me, that looked like a direct hit. So back to the airplane. Close the bay doors. What I'll try and do now is I'll actually try and land this plane, which is ridiculously unstable. I'll tell you what, we'll go back to the main runway. I was going to say land on that wall, but I can never land on that island. Always run out of runway, especially because these don't have reverse thrust or anything like that. I wasn't sure what speed we're actually doing. It seems to have stalled. Oh no, we are going forwards apparently. A little bit weird this. No, we are actually going slower. Just to make everything easier for me. Just burn on the fuel. return home. Okay, well that's what happens when you physics warp. A little too much. Don't think I'll be able to land this. We'll give it a go. I wonder if the bay doors actually, well, can be used as skids. I don't have any control either. I can make it move a little bit, but that's it. Yep, so I'll do that goes. What I'll do is I'll just revert the flight and try and land just the plane itself, just to see if it's actually a decent plane, if you will. But I may well move the wings back as well, just to make everything a little bit easier for me. Yeah, this doesn't look like it's going to survive. Sorry, Kerbals. Lost but never forgotten. So yeah, I'll adjust the wings to make it a lot more stable. So it must be, as I said before, when your centre of lift is behind your centre of mass, you have a lot more control. It's one or the other. If it's further in front, you are very unstable. But because the centre of mass is there, the lift's here, because it's in the middle, it should be relatively balanced, I think. And obviously I'll fix the issue where my engines are a bit too close to the floor when we lift it up, even though we could take off without having to pull up. So let's see what happens. Hopefully it's a lot more stable. Oh, I'll just check it. Not the best idea to do one at a time. Still got the air. Okay, yeah, so now I can't lift up and make the plane stall straight away. So it's a lot more stable. So yeah, if you want a stable plane, have your centre of mass ahead of your lift, but well, between your thrust and your centre of mass. That's where you want your lift to be. Right, so what I'll do is I'll just turn around and try and land this. So if I could adjust these a bit more so I could do, well, obviously have a better turning circle, because at the minute now, as you can see, we're not going out, well, it's quite a wide turning circle we've got going, which isn't the best, but I suppose it's good for a bomber, not practical for a fighter plane or something like that. So I'll see if I can line up. I mean, I'm not going to be very close on the straight, but I'll just land on the grass. Be a lot easier, but I will give it a go. Just don't want too much throttle. So I don't want to stall now. So just pull a bit. Try and get it perfect on. Just set my brakes up now. Don't need any throttle. Okay, looks like I overshot a bit. Last minute adjustment. Although I could well get on the runway. Nah, we're going too quick. Or are we? Nope. Yeah, sadly I don't have any air brakes. So we just missed the runway there. And trying to brake. So what I'll do is I'll just spin around. We'll pretend I landed on the runway. So it seems to be able to keep going quite a while. Don't know if they still thrust when we've turned all the throttle up. See, I'll just sneak back on the runway and pretend I landed it. Don't want to never know. Did actually use quite a lot of fuel. Maybe not. Don't know where there's half a thing is. The brakes aren't the best either, but never mind, there we go. Obviously the bomb is still attached. Let's see if I can just, there it is. Still hidden away. I don't know if we can actually open the doors. Okay, so it lifts up the plane there. That's quite impressive. I wasn't actually sure if they did have physics or not on those parts itself. But yeah, there we go. So hope you're watching my video. Hope you all liked watching my video. Sorry. And I mean, I've got loads of games, so I'll slowly release more if people like them. Random games. I mean, I might do one or two more on Kerbal. I mean, I've got other shooters. You know, yeah, I'll just go through my Steam library and just mess about, stuff like that. So yeah, thanks for watching.